What is up, you guys? I am back for practice prompt number 4. Yeah, I'm just gonna jump right into the questions as per usual. I'm in my conference room in my sorority, which is very fun, and that's why there are so many people on the wall behind me. Okay. In what situations have you felt unheard as a group member? I think, like in high school, probably more often, like when I was on teams and stuff, it was sometimes hard to be unheard. It was sometimes hard to be heard, because you have the power dynamics of like coaches and older girls and stuff like that. Like when I was on cross country and swim. Also in my family, like I feel like families should be a group and everyone's a group member, and I was definitely unheard a lot of the time. But the follow-up question, has there ever been a time where you have been a part of the dominant group in group discussions? Definitely. Like I think in classrooms in high school, I was very dominant. Like I definitely talked somewhat the most. I didn't try to say something every time, but usually when I did talk, most people would listen. And if I was in like a group or like a class project or something like that, people would usually listen to me because I was like smarter than other people or whatever. Not like actually, but that's what people thought. Just because I voiced my opinion more, so people would tend to like listen to me when I did. And I think even like in teams and stuff, as I got older, like I always enjoyed being a leader. Like I enjoyed helping other people learn how to do things. So a lot of the time, like I did end up being listened to. But definitely like at home, it was really hard in terms of not being heard. Have you ever raised a difficult issue in a group discussion? Yeah, I think so. Like in my friend groups a lot of the time, like I'm just like, okay, both you guys are like overreacting to this thing, and you need to like work it out, you know? What have you noticed in all of these moments? How did you feel? Just like there's definitely that moment of like vulnerability, of that sense of like, oh shit, like I'm saying something that people probably don't want to hear. But I always feel better in the end. Like I feel like when people solve their issues, they feel better. And usually when I would bring up things that were like problematic, most of the time people don't come at me, they come at like the issue, or they get focused on like the thing that they do need to talk about. So I feel like it went pretty positively for the most part. But it definitely creates a lot of tension, which can be uncomfy. But I think the tension lets people grow. So, what is your relationship to vulnerability? Well, I think I've always thought I was kind of vulnerable. I mean, when I was younger, I didn't like talking to people. I didn't like making friends. I didn't like being close to people at all, really. It just kind of like happened because some people would stay in my life for so long, because like I enjoy having the people that I knew in my life. I think coming to college, I thought I was being vulnerable in a lot of ways by stating the problems that I had in my life and like things like that. But just because you like talk about the issues you have doesn't really mean you're being vulnerable. I tended to just talk about the things I wanted to talk about at the end of the day. And I think this year, after going on the Invest trip, and like I've been able to talk about a lot more things that like I don't even want to talk about, but I just like feel like people should know about me. And I feel like whenever I am vulnerable with someone, whether it's a group or family member or anything, I always end up like enjoying my relationship with them after I've been vulnerable. So yeah, we're kind of like, me and vulnerability are homies or whatever. In what ways does or could this impact how you engage with your cohort and at your internship? It definitely makes me closer to my cohort, because the trip, I feel like we weren't technically forced to be vulnerable, but it just happens when you're living with people for so long, in such close quarters constantly. And the internship, I think it just helps me be honest, like in what I can and can't accomplish, like in the time period, and how I can be better at it and stuff like that. In what way, how does your cohort / internship site foster authentic relating? In what ways could your cohort internship create more space to raise the difficult issues? I think there could be more time dedicated to like class, where we're like, this is what's happening in our cohort. I don't feel like there's a lot of problems, but I do feel like there's some microaggressions every now and then. that we kind of just don't talk about because we don't like them and we want to get rid of them, and we feel like talking about it with a few people will help. But I think that there's times when it could just like be addressed to everyone. What insights and or questions? Yeah. It's kind of all I really feel like talking about this week. Getting stuff done with my internship. Me and Frankie are working on it together now, which has been really cool. Learning about the ins and outs of Invest through the ecology paper was pretty cool. I'm just really tired and have a lot going on. Yeah, but that's kind of it for this week. Thanks for tuning in. Leave a comment or a like, and click the subscribe button if you feel like it. Yeah, that's it for this week.